Welcome back to Disturbed Reality. In relation to graphic content online, as many of you are aware, some of the most brutal and well-known videos stem from the war on drugs in Mexico. Year by year, as rival cartels battle it out for money, power, and influence, the levels of violence only continue to skyrocket. The gruesome videos that we see online, such as Ghost Rider and Funky Town, are merely a tip of the iceberg. Though, as tragic as the current situation in Mexico is, Brazil face a similar problem when it comes to violence fueled by the drug trade and crushing poverty. In 2022, Brazil saw nearly 48,000 murders in the country, and that does not account for missing persons. Gangs such as Comando Vermelho, Guardiões de Estado, and Primeiro Comando da Capital, and many others, are responsible for much of the violence. Much like Mexican drug cartels, they understand the importance of social media. They will often use social media as a recruitment tool by announcing house and street parties, inviting the local youth. From there, many will be initiated into such gangs to carry out errands such as low-level street dealing and even contracted hits. Comando Vermelho in particular attract Brazilian youth into their ranks by hosting Brazilian funk parties, a popular genre of music in Brazil which derives from Miami bass. As well as recruitment, such gangs will also use social media to showcase their heinous crimes, such as brutal incidents of torture and murder. The reason being is simple: to strike fear into rival gangs and to intimidate dissenting voices. While such videos out of Mexico get much attention online, what goes on in Brazil tends to go under the radar. Though, this doesn't mean that these videos are less brutal, and that there are less of them. In fact, there is a distinct possibility that more gruesome videos have come out of Brazil in the last 3 to 4 years, rather than Mexico. One such video surfaced in around 2018, and is regarded by some as one of the worst of its kind. Before we discuss the video, it's best to understand a little backstory. Upon the video's release, it went somewhat viral. Very often, when a video of this nature garners attention, it is used to misguide and push certain narratives. In short, many videos, particularly from Brazil, due to lack of backstory and information, get used in disinformation campaigns. The video covered today being a prime example. Many at the time claimed that the video took place in Malaysia, where it was linked with a murder that took place in the Malaysian town of Sri Aman. However, Malaysian police confirmed that the video was from South America. Online bloggers stated that the murder was that of a Hindu woman by a Muslim man, and that it was a case of love jihad, though this is not true. Love jihad being, according to mainstream definition, a conspiracy theory that purports that Muslim men target Hindu women for conversion to Islam by means such as seduction. The video in question was used to push said conspiracy theory. In reality, the backstory behind the gruesome clip is murky, but some information does exist. The victim was 19-year-old Deborah Bessa, who was brutally murdered in January of 2018. Her body was found in the Caladinho region of Rio Branco by her own family members. The victim's mother recalled that she could not watch over her daughter because of the way her body was found. The body was found several days after the murder, hacked up and bloated due to decomposition. Her mother stated, "My daughter had a closed coffin burial. The family couldn't even stand the smell. It had to be a 5-minute wake. I couldn't even see my daughter in the coffin to be able to say my final goodbyes. In May of 2019, 2 were convicted of her murder, those being Andre de Souza Martins and Luciel de Souza Nascimento. Andre was given a 42-year sentence for the murder, whilst Luciel was given a 20-year sentence. Police initially suspected that the murder was gang-related. However, upon Andre's arrest, he stated that the murder was not that of a hit for a local gang, but more so that the murder was committed as an act of revenge against Deborah. The story goes that allegedly Deborah was involved in the murder of Andre's brother in 2013. According to him, she was gang-affiliated. Police investigated this claim and came up with the conclusion that Deborah likely participated in the execution of several rival gang members. According to police, footage exists of these murders in which Deborah allegedly participated in. It is unclear to what gang Deborah was working for, but potentially, given the location of the crime, she may have been affiliated with Familia do Norte, or in English, the Family of the North, who are considered the 3rd largest faction in Brazil and the largest in the state of Amazonas. The faction have hit the headlines in recent years. They were previously allied to Comando Vermelho, or the Red Command in English, a gang in which we covered in the Brazilian Rainforest Machete massacre video. Prior to 2018, the 2 factions would work together, in essence, to halt the advances of a rival gang by the name of Primeiro Comando da Capital in Amazonas. Despite very little media coverage outside of Brazil, the battles were especially brutal. However, after 2018, the alliance dissolved, generating a confrontation between Comando Vermelho and Familia do Norte, weakening the Familia faction. A lot of the graphic content perpetrated by Comando Vermelho stems from this ongoing war. It is also possible that Deborah was affiliated with Comando Vermelho themselves. Ultimately, when looking at the time frames, the time of the murder matches the time when the war between the 2 factions broke out, though this may be me adding 2 and 2 together and coming up with 5. It's unclear to which website the video was originally uploaded, but it went somewhat viral during early 2018 and later in 2019 after it was shared by bloggers claiming it to be from Malaysia, as previously stated. Upon viewing the video, one thing didn't make sense. There are 2 killers in the video, and 1 person holding the camera, meaning at least 3 people were responsible for Deborah's murder. The person behind the camera was Luciel de Souza Nascimento, and one of the murderers was Andre de Souza Martins, which begs the question, who was the second murderer, and has he been captured since? All reports online indicate that only Luciel and Andre were arrested and sent down for the horrific crime. In regards to Deborah, and murders that she may have been involved in, I have searched high and wide online, though have yet to find any particular video in which she is involved in. Police seem certain that she was involved in previous execution videos, but I have yet to find anything to support this. But nevertheless, what happens in the actual video? It's a short one, at only 25 seconds long, and is shot during the middle of the day. The setting is a rainforest type environment. As the video starts, Deborah can be seen kneeling on the ground, and a man is standing behind her, holding her hair. His face is obscured by a hood and a balaclava. he is carrying a machete. The look on Deborah's face conveys terror and pure dejection as she awaits her grisly demise. She is pulled to the ground by the machete-wielding killer and lets out a haunting scream. She is laying on her side, almost in the fetal position. The machete-wielding killer attempts to slice the side of her neck, but struggles as she does her best to protect herself while letting out harrowing screams. A second man then enters shot, carrying what appears to be a kitchen knife, and he stabs her in her side, in and around the rib area. She reacts by letting out a short, sharp scream. She then lays on her back after she is stabbed. This gives the killer with the machete the angle required to start slashing her throat, which he does as she still screams. While this is happening, the murderer carrying the kitchen knife repeatedly stabs her in the stomach. Instinctively, she moves her hand to try to protect herself from the stabbings, but the killer stabs through her hand and into her stomach. After a few seconds, she stops screaming but is still moving as she is being stabbed and beheaded by the two killers. There's a lot of blood. The man with the machete then stands up and strikes Deborah's throat with the machete, which makes a cracking type sound. He more than likely hit her spine with the blade. He then strikes her again, and after the second strike, it appears that Deborah vomits, but it comes out of her slashed throat rather than her mouth. He strikes her 2 to 3 more times. Her body freezes up as her spinal cord is severed, and it looks like they complete the beheading, though it's hard to tell as the camera quality isn't the best. The Grisly video was used as evidence in the trial and would ultimately result in 2 of the 3 involved being sent down for the horrific crime. As previously stated, no information has been revealed surrounding the identity of the second killer. Either he hasn't been caught, or potentially he was a minor and was protected under Brazilian law from being publicly identified. It's a short clip, but some have claimed it to be one of the worst beheading videos online. I can see why. The screams, in conjunction with the frantic slashing and stabbing, is pure nightmare fuel. The video is extremely graphic, and I would not recommend that you search for it. I have also seen some rumours that a slightly longer version of this clip exists, though I have yet to find it. Now, when it comes to Mexican cartel videos that I have covered on this channel, very often we know very little or nothing about the victims. It is very possible that some of these victims covered in such videos are actually innocent people in the wrong place at the wrong time. However, when it comes to the case of Deborah Bessa, it seems very likely that she was involved in gang activity and potentially executions of rival gang members. And because of what we know about Deborah, many will say that, that makes this video less bad, and ultimately, she had it coming. And while I understand that rationale, look at the age-old proverb, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. I understand that, but to me at least, it doesn't make these videos any easier to watch. And for me personally, the conclusion that she deserved it just perpetuates the cycle of violence. As we've seen with some cases covered on this channel, mob justice and lynch mob mentality can lead to some of the most heinous acts of cruelty in which you will ever see. So, I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts on the murder of Deborah Bessa. Regardless of backstory, it's an extremely brutal case. But yeah, that is the video. I hope you enjoyed it, if you can enjoy this sort of content. If you guys have any topic ideas, please feel free to get in contact with me. The best place would be to follow me on Twitter and send me a DM. Link will be in the pinned comment. Alternatively, you can drop me an email. Please also feel free to check me out on Twitch. The link will be in the pinned comment, and I am also thinking of making a channel Discord. I will let you know more news on that in the future. But nevertheless, thank you guys for the support. It's much appreciated. We've recently hit 325,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. Thank you guys so much. But as always, stay safe, and I'll catch you on the next one.